Thanks for joining us here for another edition of Huddle Up on Northwest Access TV. I'm your host, Paul. A fun new intro for our show here on Channel 15.
So fun.
Is it a lot of fun?
I just had so much fun.
You didn't actually get to hear the music, though, too. So, I mean, I hope that one day...
I absolutely love the new intro. I hate my photo on it because I always hate my photos. But I absolutely love that new intro. That's pretty cool.
On the set of Huddle Up, Bryce and Dustin, welcome to the show. Plenty to talk about today. JT not here. He's on an early shift because his wife is headed to the Warriors-Celtics game tonight, and he's at home with the kiddos. Husband of the year?
That's husband of the decade.
I wouldn't say husband of the decade, but I'd say husband of the next 5 years right there. That's a big L to take in the name of
It's as big of a Warriors fan as he is. I was a little shocked by this. We got a lot of basketball coming up, but first, let's go with our show starters. Dustin?
Yeah, so my show starter is going to be about who is really good in the NFL this year and why I think I would take Cam Newton over some of the other NFL quarterbacks right now. We'll get into this a little later, but Cam Newton becomes the third youngest quarterback ever to reach 200 touchdowns with 148 passing or 150 passing touchdowns and 52 rushing touchdowns. He got him on Monday. And the other two quarterbacks that made that list were Peyton Manning, who was one of the youngest, and Dan Marino. So Cam Newton, I would say quietly, is on pace for a Hall of Fame career at this point.
I think there's a lot more that goes into Hall of Fame besides statistics sometimes.
I think there is.
He might be that exception to the rule where his off-the-field antics make you not, in my mind, a Hall of Famer. And I get that we were supposed to do all stats, we're supposed to keep it on the field, but he's someone I just don't respect off the field to be able to...
Well, the thing I look at right now is that he is age 28, so you would say he has probably at least 5 to 8 years left in the league.
It depends if he goes on the TB12 method and puts another 15 years in.
He could do another 15 years, but I think if he projects at the stats that he's had for his entire career for another 5 years, he'll be at the point where he'll have 40,000 yards, he'll have 200 throwing, he'll have 250 throwing touchdowns, maybe 100 rushing touchdowns. I think there's going to become a point where you look at Cam Newton and you say, even if he doesn't win a Super Bowl.
I feel like he's the player. So I know I'm going to come you up, and we'll get back to it. So I feel like he's the player Michael Vick should have been. Does that make a little more sense?
Yes. Okay. If Michael Vick had learned how to pass the ball.
No. If he just hadn't gotten in trouble, I think.
That too.
And stayed on the field, I think he would have been.
Don't get fired, Paul.
Don't get fired. I didn't get fired. I said if he didn't get in trouble, Michael Vick, then he probably would have. He'd get into that point. We'll get to that later on in the show. For mine, I'm going to actually stay with the Carolina Panthers here. I'm talking about Funches, wide receiver for the Panthers. And two things real quick. I love this. There's a lot of talk where there's a lot of disrespect towards veterans throughout the NFL due to their kneeling of the national anthem, things like that. Again, even though I think we're all kind of in agreement that's not the intention. But he got to meet with a family of a fallen veteran and said that I want to do something special for you guys. I just got to think about what it's going to be. He ended up scoring a touchdown and then dedicating that touchdown to them afterwards, which I thought was great. But on the other hand as well, this kind of goes into the whole, okay, Cam Newton, I see you kind of, I like what you're doing here. When Funches scored his second touchdown, Funches celebrated, and then he was about to go back to the bench. Cam Newton stopped him, grabbed him by his jersey, and started pointing to the stands. And then Funches went like this, and then he runs over and hands the ball to a kid. Wasn't going to do it at first, but after Cam Newton made the gesture, hey, give that ball away. So I look at Cam Newton as if he does things like that, that's the only thing I like about Cam Newton is that he's always about the fan experience.
Well, Cam Newton is a little bit of greatness sometimes and a little bit of, why'd you do that sometimes? Because, for every time he asks a female reporter about routes, he also goes,
one time.
That was one time, but,
So for that one time he did that, he what?
He went and played a game of football with kids during the offseason.
There was a good article. He did that one time?
There was a good article that came out last year.
Stretching, Dustin, stretching.
But there was a good article that came out last year about how, he's a fun player.
Stretching's important, pliability.
Look, with fun players, you're going to have some immaturity. And I think, I hope he gets there one day where, he gives the
we're done with your show starter. We're going to Bryce
you kept
for his.
Going on it.
No, I just brought it up very slightly. We're going to talk about it later. Bryce, your show starter.
For my show starter.
Is this where I have to pretend to shoot?
Hold on.
No, not yet.
I want to talk about the genius of Bill Walton's commentary. All right, so we're going to do a little role play. here and to just give you a taste of the Bill Walton college basketball commentary experience. So Dustin is going to role play the basketball game that was going on.
All right.
I'm going to be Bill Walton, and Paul is going to be the play-by-play commentator that Bill Walton was partnered with. So,
All right, so should I start now?
So
I'm dribbling.
go ahead.
Okay.
So he's-
Dribbling.
have you ever been to Senegal?
I've never been to Senegal. Have you?
I have not.
That's it.
And scene.
That's it.
And scene.
So I don't know what was going through the mind of Bill Walton. I know that the score kind of probably depicts why he was asking about Senegal, because, yeah,
Because who doesn't want to ask about Senegal?
it's the beginning of the college basketball season.
That's right.
And no
Perfect
one's
time
really
to talk
paying
about
attention.
basketball.
There was also, like we said, a lot of downtime ahead of that call. Like we weren't really.
There's a lot of space.
Yeah, there's a lot of delay there.
Either
A lot
end
of
that
dead air
call.
on that.
Props, shout out to my coworker Matt Moore for bringing that call to my attention.
My favorite thing about Bill Walton commentary is that if you watch him over the season, you're going to
It wasn't
get
deep enough, by the way.
you're
for
going to
Bill
get a bunch of good advice.
Have
But
you ever
it's-
been to Senegal?
That was a little better.
But it's going to be some of the craziest stuff you hear. Like, you understand why they put him on Pac-12 games after 10 o'clock.
Because he lives out there.
Well, I know he lives out there, but the point is...
But actually, in the same game, at the beginning of the same game, when they were because it was a UCLA game, they were talking about the 3 UCLA students who were arrested. In
Funny
China.
you should bring that up,
And-
Bryce.
and-
We're going to be talking about that in a second.
But Bill Walton actually he went off on them and actually had really good things to say. But then he finished it with, "And I want to apologize on behalf of the human race." For this. So all of you college basketball fans and everybody in China, the human race apologizes.
I would
Bill
love.
Walton.
I would love to
Okay.
see. You know how you look at movies. You think about movies. Who's like that narrator that always seems to come to mind for me?
In a world.
No. I didn't mean like that. I meant more like a Morgan Freeman. It's that voice that like real
Yep.
nice. Like
Yep.
oh, it's
butter.
nice and deep. It's
Just
great.
butter.
I would love to see a Morgan Freeman versus Bill Walton like
Talking
speech
contest?
off. I don't even know what it would be. Like just something to just a monologue off.
I know
That'd be
this is kind of a dated
fantastic.
reference, but I always wanted Bud Selig and Mayor Menino.
Yep,
from
that is-
Boston to
you're
have
right.
a talking contest.
You're right. That is
Would've been amazing.
absolutely outdated.
It is.
Let's stick with UCLA. The 3 players, including one of the Ball brothers, arrested in China, brought back, and now suspended indefinitely
And Trump's
by
waiting
UCLA,
for his thanks.
which he received from all 3 players during a press conference anyway.
We received a pair of big baller shoes.
I'm not
for her.
talking about Trump. I'm talking about the 3 players. Their suspension. Is it warranted? Should it have been less?
Yes.
I want to talk. Just,
International
Oh, man.
shoplifting. If you want to talk about dumb things college
Mm-hmm.
students can do, first off, to the kids watching out there, don't shoplift, okay? Because
it wasn't just
Hot
shoplifting.
takes by Dustin.
Hot takes
Don't
by
It wasn't
Dustin.
just shoplifting
Don't
by these
shoplift.
players. They shoplifted 3 stores. This
It's
is
like not 1, not 2, but in China, in a place that's not a democracy where you could be sent to a work camp. Like, if you're going to shoplift in America where you can get a sentence.
sound advice by Dustin. If you're
Kids,
a college athlete,
if you're going to shoplift,
you're going to shoplift,
do it in
in
China.
America.
do it in America.
Because, like,
America first.
well, yeah, America first, support American businesses. But
Support American
really, like, of all the places to shoplift, and 3 stores, like,
Now it's
And the Ball family is already stinking rich.
it's
what
not
does-
like
what does
these are
Leopold have
poor
to do?
kids, and it's just like, why?
It's
Why would
shoplifting.
you do it?
well, it's
Why
not to
would
say
you
that
do
all
it?
poor kids shoplift. Either,
No,
though.
but the Ball family has a pair of shoes that they're selling for what, 10 grand or something insane like that.
no, it's like $400 or $500.
Oh, the Milwaukee Bucks were hardcore trawling.
The Milwaukee
Balls.
Bucks Twitter is the best.
Well, the Milwaukee Buck mascot was wearing a big Baller brand shirt.
Fantastic.
And held up a sign that said, "LiAngelo leads the family in steals."
Oh,
So that was savage.
no, I've seen a couple
Savage
steals
from
from
the Bucks.
Lonzo. That's not too bad. You can't shoot threes.
Is he
worth
still
anything.
leading
Can't shoot right now.
the
Can't shoot
league
at
in
all.
steals and the nation in steals? He might be after the first couple games.
Nick Mumley, who's going to join us next Tuesday, says thanks for the advice, Dustin. We
Always
appreciate
tell
that,
kids
Nick.
not to
Thanks for
shoplift.
watching over on the eastern side of Vermont. Do you think it says indefinitely? I hate the word indefinitely when it's talking about suspensions because that really means they can come back at any time. They have to earn their keep back. Is it fair? Is it fair to say that Ball is probably going to be the first kid back, or is he going to be the last one back as a made an example out of? Come back.
Depends on how much sway
So I
LeVar
saw
has.
actually a really good take on this and how long they should be suspended. It was from one of the ESPN college basketball reporters. I don't remember who. And he said, if you think these kids are going to be a one and done, 20-game suspension, so the pro scouts don't get a chance to look at them because it takes a hit on your draft stock. And if they think the kids are going to be coming back next year, 10-game suspension.
See, if you thought these kids were going to be a one and done similar to Lonzo, I would have revoked their first-year eligibility. Make them stay an extra year. If you're serious about wanting to play college ball and get to the next level, then.
And also, it may have been Bill Walton, but it wasn't Bill Walton. It was one of the bigger ESPN commentators, but they were talking about how this might be UCLA's chance just to rid the Ball family, like get rid of the Ball family for good. Just kick him off the team and don't have to deal with it anymore because, you know the controversy that, what is the father's name? LeVar caused going into the NCAA tournament last year. He said some pretty controversial things that I think distracted the team as they went and tried to make a championship run. So, I don't know. If I'm UCLA, an academic institution that's been known to be, a good academic institution that has been known to be pretty clean as far as their student athletes go, I'd say you drop the hammer and you make the example. 10 games, 10 to 20 games.
I think it should be more than that, especially when more details kept coming out about what they did. You're talking about shoplifting from 3 stores. You're
talking about possibly.
That's a little crazy.
This is like a possible international incident.
And it's also that because and I don't
know if the president had to get involved or not. I don't know.
He did. He did get involved.
I don't know if he had to get involved or not. You can keep saying he did or did not. I don't think he had to get involved. These 3 kids could have. You don't do what they did when you're representing not only the university, but you're representing
NCAA,
the country.
Well, and another ripple to this is that the Pac-12 is working on...
And your family's wealthy, similar to what you said. Like, there's no reason for you to do this.
If I'm the Pac-12, I'm really mad right now because they're working on distribution deals with places in China, with places on that side of the world. So to have 3 of your athletes, because that's the point that they were over there. They were there to play a couple of games to increase the Pac-12 footprint, increase the college basketball footprint. To have this come up is so embarrassing if you're the Pac-12 who's trying to work on international trade, just deals in general. I think 10 to 20 games is enough, but I
would say first-year eligibility because what these kids won't learn if they get at least a couple games or they get to come back for the tournament, they're able to play. Then they can go into the draft next year. And I don't.
Yeah, and the trouble is
you see what college. A lot of I feel like we've kind of heard through the grapevine in a way that the pro teams don't really care what you do in college because, we saw other players like Ben Simmons that never really got to shine in college playing for the year for LSU. For LSU. Didn't even make the tournament and still was drafted, 1 overall? No, what was Simmons at? 1 or 2 overall? Well, what I'm trying to get at is I don't really think they care how much they do in college. They see the player, they feel like they know what they're getting already.
Well, and the one and done system needs to go away. And I'm really, the NBA has talked about expanding the now G League into making it so players can come out of high school and go to the G League.
When did that change from the D League?
This year.
Gatorade. I want to make sure it's because
Gatorade signed the deal as the endorsement. Gatorade lead the G League.
We know what
Dasani lost it.
Yeah, like Dasani.
Was it?
We know what G is now.
Yeah, we know.
Remember the Gatorade commercials?
What
is G?
It's a basketball.
It's the G League.
G League. I want to get into another topic here. We're going to bounce off of UCLA. We're going to go to the NFL real quick. The whole Martellus Bennett saga has been cracking me up lately. For those that don't know, Martellus Bennett is back on the Patriots, tight end. He also played against Denver a few days after being let go from the Packers.
I thought he was hurt, though.
So that's what I want to get into. Is he a quitter? Is he a genius? Is he both? I really want to know what your take is on this.
A little bit of...
I have my take on it, and I just want to...
Can he be all of them?
That's what I said. Is he a quitter? Is he a genius or both? Yes, he can be all of them.
I think he's a little bit of all of them because, when he signed with Green Bay, he had the idea that he was going to be playing with Aaron Rodgers for a championship. And the minute Aaron Rodgers got hurt, Green Bay has not been a great team since.
Understatement.
Understatement. I think,
Hundley?
If he doesn't get an endorsement through extra gum, I don't know who will.
Look, if you sign with a team with the expectation to win a championship and that team is not a championship team, I think you have kind of a reason to quit on them. You have a reason to quit on it a little bit because, if you sign
I don't think you have a reason to quit at all. You sign with a team for better or worse. It's like a marriage. They're paying you all this money. You show up and you play. I don't care who you are. I don't get. Now, if it comes to the injury, this is where I don't agree with it. You comes to the injury, you're hurt. You want to go on. You want to have surgery. They say, no, you're going to play. Then it's like health over mind. But then you have to choose health. You can't just say, all right, you're going to put me on waivers, you've quit on me. Okay, my team's quit on me, I can do whatever I want, but my choice was to go through surgery. And then the Patriots come calling you like, and literally, F it, I think is what his words were, a little more extensive than that, and said, yeah, okay, I'll go to the Patriots and play, not go through surgery. Now, in my mind, if I had to take a wild guess at this, and it probably might be my 2-minute warning at the end of the show, I don't think Bennett lasts the entire year. I think he will eventually have that surgery because the tight end spot, I think it's his rotator cuff is in his shoulder. Is that the problem? As a tight end, unless you're reaching your hands up all the way for a ball, which with Brady's accuracy this year, he won't have to worry about. Everything's kind of been at the feet. So I feel like in his position, he'd actually be okay to play all year, but I just have a feeling that he's not going to last the entire year anyway. So the Patriots are paying him $400,000 to fill a spot that Dwayne Allen just really needs to start getting comfortable in.
I think the real benefit to Bennett is that the Patriots have been kind of having some trouble in the red zone, and so this helps them out. So I think they can even have a chance where they can.
But Dwayne Allen caught his first ball yesterday in the red zone,
and it was a touchdown.
He's 1 for 1 with touchdowns.
1 for 1. There we go. But I think we don't need Bennett the entire drive, especially with Gronk healthy. Mm-hmm. Unlike last year when Gronk went out, when we needed Bennett a lot more. But I think the Patriots can kind of pick and choose their spots.
When they have
Bennett,
three top caliber, possible top caliber tight ends.
Extend how long he plays this season. Mm-hmm. But, we'll see. He's also not going to be a super major part of their passing game. So it helps in one instance, but I don't think it helps overall.
I think this is more of a victim of.
I
think this is more of a victim of circumstance. I wouldn't call him a genius. I would definitely call him a quitter, but was falling into the right spot. Because someone like the 49ers could have picked him up off waivers, and then he could have said, "No, actually, I'm still good. I don't want it. I'm going to have surgery.
I'm retiring now."
Right, exactly.
But I think one of the things that appealed to him is he already knows the Patriot system.
Right. He's so
he doesn't
shortly
need to learn
removed
things. He
from
doesn't need to train to learn a new team.
And he already has the chemistry with Tom Brady as well. So I'm saying he's more of a pretender when it comes to these things, but Dustin wanted to get into some other possible contenders.
That is a very nice transition.
I'm on my game today. I've been up since 5.
So we are now at the point in the NFL season where a little bit halfway through. We are past the 8-9 game mark. And
10.
Well, most teams are 7-2. Some teams are 7-3. Some teams are 6-4. We're week 11.
I'm just being factual.
But now is where you kind of get to see who's who and who do you think has a chance to win the Super Bowl at the post-halfway season mark. In the NFC right now, you have a really interesting race where you have the 7-2 Vikings who are riding with a Case Keenum who is hot but is not really. If you watch the tape.
Statistically, he's having a very similar year to one Thomas Edward Brady in his first year as a Patriots starting quarterback.
Yeah, but Case Keenum...
Almost exactly the same stats,
but
mind you. And he won a Super Bowl.
I know. Tom Brady won a Super Bowl. The difference between Tom Brady won a Super Bowl. The difference between Tom Brady and Case Keenum.
But back then there wouldn't have been.
Well, if you watch the tape on Tom Brady's rookie year, he's not underthrowing receivers and getting bailed out by the fact that he's had...
I would contradict that by saying Tom Brady won a Super Bowl his first year because of the defense.
Yeah, so...
And the godly leg of Adam Vinatieri.
That's the one.
The godly leg of Adam Vinatieri is you can't even debate that. Adam Vinatieri, surefire Hall of Famer.
Go on, Minnesota. But Case Keenum, not really sold on him.
I'm sold.
He's underthrowing wide receivers. He's got Teddy Bridgewater waiting back there in the wing. He's having an okay season. He's not a top 10 quarterback, but they're 7-2, I think, thanks in part because of their defense. In the NFC South, you have the 7-2 Saints, who came out of nowhere to be 7-2, and just Drew Brees did not throw a touchdown last week, and the Saints won by 40.
First time he's done that in how long? But he actually had a rushing touchdown, so his streak of touchdowns still continues.
It's still good, but he didn't have to throw a touchdown, and they destroyed Buffalo.
2.
The Panthers, who are starting to look like the Panthers of 2 years ago when they had that fun run team
3,
that could... just grind out some victories.
5.
And then in the NFC West and the NFC East, you have 2 second-year quarterbacks who are 1-8-1, 1-7-2, but have never seen a playoff snap in their life.
Statistically, actually, I think Keenum would be a top 10 quarterback, but he would be number 10.
You'd be number 10. He'd be on the list.
Just going through the divisions right now, I'm like, okay, 1 in the AFC East, 1 in the AFC North.
I'm going to link you to a Twitter thread later.
0 in the AFC South.
But in the NFC, I want to talk the NFC first. Who do you got in the NFC right now? Who do you believe in the NFC? Because I look at some of the quarterbacks, and in the NFC South, they're going to put 2 teams in the playoffs, and of those 2 teams, I believe in Cam Newton and Drew Brees more than I believe in Case Keenum, Jared Goff, and Carson Wentz, because those guys have never taken a playoff snap. And, Brees and Cam Newton have both made it to the Super Bowl. Brees has won a Super Bowl. When it comes to the playoffs, you can win the regular season every year. The Washington Capitals in hockey win the regular season every year, choke in the second round. And, right now, I would put, if I had to put some money on a Super Bowl contender, I would say the Panthers have a chance to make it. Just because of the teams, you look at the teams, you look at the quarterbacks.
I think when you're talking wild card, absolutely. Is it two wild cards?
It's 2 wild cards. So
yeah, I think absolutely the Panthers can get there.
Card. The second wild card right now would be Seattle. So
right now, if the playoffs ended today.
If the playoffs end today,
Dallas now has no. Today. I think Dallas has lost their chance with Ezekiel
Elliott
ending
would be the Super Bowl.
Ezekiel Elliott taking his 6-game suspension. He'll be back for, I believe it's Christmas Eve is his first game that he can come back. So if you have him on your fantasy team, that sucks.
Pick up Alfred Morris.
No, because
I did. Because
if the playoffs started today, you would probably have the Vikings hosting the Seahawks. So if the Vikings are hosting the Seahawks, do you take Case Keenum over not Teddy, but do you take Case Keenum over Russell Wilson?
That's if Case Keenum's still playing by then.
That depends on Seattle's defense.
Right. All signs point right now, because Seattle's defense has been plummeting as well when it comes to the injury bug.
Sherman and Sherman.
Not just Sherman. There are other.
What's his name? The safety, the free safety there that is one of the bigger parts of the Legion of Boom.
Right. So that's what I mean. Their defense isn't the same defense as it was last year or at the beginning of the season.
But I think of the teams in the NFC playoff run right
Thomas?
now. Earl Thomas. I think. I think the Carolina has the best chance of making.
Carolina's playing some great ball right now, but they're also not playing the craziest of contenders right now, too.
But they're also not completely healthy right now. They're getting Greg Olsen back in a few weeks, which we'll go into something that I thought you wanted to talk about.
Yep.
We'll talk about that, then we'll move to the AFC picture.
Yeah, that's fine. So Greg Olsen is he's on IR. He's available to come back in 2 weeks, I think is what it is. Yep. But he's going to be in the booth for a Minnesota, and who are they playing? Is it this
Minnesota
weekend?
is playing the Rams.
All right, so
Minnesota or Cam Chancellor? Which one are you talking about?
Cam Chancellor. So the Rams are playing Minnesota. Greg Olsen is actually going to be in the booth for Fox for the I think it's for Fox. Sorry, I'll check right quick. Yeah, for Fox to do the booth. But the problem is that the announcers and the play-by-play people, they get some pretty crazy access to production meetings, film, things like that a player that's currently active should not have.
And also, just for the sake of clarity, he will not be in any of those meetings.
Right, and that's what I'm getting at, is that he won't actually get to be in those, but there's still some complaints that have been filed and denied by the Minnesota team saying they really don't want Olsen to be part of the production of the actual game. I'm talking about the meeting stuff beforehand because he's not going to be. But I thought it was really interesting that that they're allowing him to even do that in the first place. I would think that, okay, you should be home, you should be resting.
Right.
If I'm the Panthers, I don't think I really want him flying up to Minnesota or to LA or wherever it is to do a game when I'd rather you been.
If I've never been an active player.
Well, that's what I meant. I don't know.
In the middle of now, I've seen coaches and players once they've been eliminated from the playoffs jump on.
Well, I think a lot of the time you used to see it on the NFL Today when somebody was on a bye week, week 5 or 6, they would come on and do the pregame show. If I'm the Carolina Panthers, you bet I want Greg Olsen up there, because there are things that you'll see just during the game that you'll just be able to.
It's real life footage. It's real life film. That's all you're looking at. Film,
and this was pointed out to me on one of the internet forums that I subscribe to, is even though he's not in those production meetings, Troy Buck could say, Troy Buck. There we go, Troy Buck. or
Go ahead.
Joe Aikman.
Joe Aikman.
Joe Aikman.
I like Joe Aikman. That sounds like a real player.
But,
right
that commentary team could say they've been working on this play all practice and point out things in the booth that you wouldn't have access to just on the film study. So do I think giving the tight end the knowledge of the Vikings and the Rams do I think the tight end is going to be able to do a lot of it? Not really. But can it give them a competitive advantage? There's a chance.
Do you think they'd be more worried if Greg Olsen was on a broadcast team with Tony Romo doing this? Because Romo just predicts every play.
Romo would break down the film.
Apart.
It would be Kevin Burkhardt, Greg Olsen, and Charles Davis. So.
Oh, yeah, so he's getting no knowledge from that commentary team.
Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, or Joe Aikman and Troy Buck, will be joining the Washington at New Orleans game.
That'll be a fun game.
So, I want to talk about the Celtics for real, but I think we should just jump into power rankings and go with that, and then we'll talk about them as we move on.
Because surprise, surprise, the Celtics are still number one in my power ranking.
Then they are not on any other power ranking I've seen online as well. I'm just throwing it out there because
they're on a 13-14 game winning streak right now. I mean,
13 games, right?
13 games. Granted, Golden State is on a 7-game winning streak, but it's just, to me, until the Celtics finally lose, which
tonight,
tonight will decide.
Will it?
I think so.
Basketball ends in a tie? What if it's tied and lights go out and they can't restore power?
Or do they do NHL where they eventually go 3-on-3?
That'd be fantastic. Oh my God! Would you imagine?
crazy.
Warriors all day. In my mind, it's not even a question.
Clay, Steph, and Durant.
No, who's taking that down?
I think the NHL has the best overtime of any sport, actually.
It is a lot of fun.
And especially because for playoffs, they go back to the continuous format.
Oh, yeah.
But, I would not be shocked to see the Warriors come out and win by 50 tonight, because it would just be such a Golden State Warriors thing to do. And just be like, the Celtics are on a 13-game win streak, and then Kevin Durant just decides to drop 50 points on a Thursday night.
I think with the Celtics team that is, they still lead in the league in defensive or points against or whatever it is. I'd be really curious to see what they do against Golden State tonight. But at the same time, I have that like weird feeling about someone like Brad Stevens that we're not going to show our entire hand tonight. We're going to show here's one card in our hands.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a 7. Okay, great. We're not really going to show you the rest of it. I want to save a little bit for later, because I think they play him a second time in the later in the year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So I feel like you're not going to see the entire Boston Celtics crazy scheme you have for a Western team, and I think that says a lot for Brad Stevens where his focus is. His focus isn't on. While they are winning regular season right now, they're looking towards the playoffs and looking at potential contenders.
That's nice and cute, but Steve Kerr's hand is the fact that he has 3 of the best players in the NBA on his roster, and I don't care what type of hand you put out there to counter that. Kevin Durant and Steph Curry are still 2 of the best players in the league, and you also have Draymond Green, Klay Thompson. I think the Golden State Warriors' hand is the fact that they can just beat you by
How much
attrition.
Golden State win by tonight? Come on, Dustin, give me a number.
How much does Golden State win by tonight?
Come on, give me a number, Dustin.
I say 15.
I think that's a win for the Celtics then, because this team is an offensive juggernaut. We've seen it all year, and you have a team like the Celtics that again are playing. It's a mix right now of Eastern and Western that they're playing, but their defense has been really strong. But again, I feel like they're still not playing to the fullest potential still. I look at this team, it's like, okay, you still have a missing piece every night, but they're still winning.
Yeah, but Golden State's not playing to their full potential either. Like, Golden State still, Golden State didn't condition for the first 2 weeks of the year.
But I think they're climbing. They're on that uprise as opposed to...
They're hitting their pace. They finally decided to hit the weights. A couple weeks into the season, they're like, oh, it's time to play basketball again. We're the Golden State Warriors. I don't think any team in the NBA has hit their stride yet, but I think Golden State wins by...
We are past your 2-week
we are
mark.
Past 10 games, so we can now have that.
Starting to actually get to know what teams are. I think, for me, the most interesting thing is going to see how Jason Tatum plays, because this is going to be a very different game than just playing on the local Boston channel. Against Atlanta.
Prime time.
On ESPN tonight?
TNT.
Oh, TNT.
TNT.
Oh, even bigger.
TNT, they're in Boston, so at least the crowd's going to be behind them. But it's going to be...
John's wife. Yeah. John's wife.
But
John's wife will be Golden State all the way.
But it's a totally different stage when it's a nationally televised game, playing against a team who has won 2 out of 3 of the last championships. got to the finals the last 3 years.
And literally only lost that third one because LeBron just had, and LeBron and Kyrie just did something amazing that had not been done in the NBA before.
But this helps Boston.
I was going to say,
Kyrie knows Golden State
that's
really
what I was going to bring up. Is does that help this team a little more because he's faced Golden State so many times?
Because he's beaten them
and he's played them a lot too. I mean, just in general.
I mean, I think he was a big piece in beating them. But if you look at, if you look at the NBA Finals last year when LeBron,
the shot that won it,
he hit the shot that won it. But if you look at the course of the 3 years where they've played against them, and you take LeBron off the court, Kyrie's numbers were not great when
Shut
LeBron
up,
was
Dustin.
on the court.
Dustin, shut up.
Do I
Are
think
you kidding me?
No.
If you take LeBron off anybody's team, yes, the team's going to fail
here's the
like
thing.
that.
That's also the argument that everyone's been using for Kyrie not going to be good in Boston this year because he's not with
Kyrie's
LeBron.
been
He's been
But you just contradicted yourself then. You took LeBron off the court, and Kyrie's doing well.
LeBron.
Yeah, he's going to do well, but I don't think he's still at the point where he can beat the Warriors. Now, if Gordon Hayward is healthy for this game and he has that second veteran scoring option,
I don't think Hayward's the answer. I keep saying this all year. Look what this team's been able to do without him.
And a lot of that credit goes to Brad Stevens.
Yeah, a lot of Brad Stevens is the next Greg Popovich.
I think you could honestly say that those 2 losses they had at the beginning of the year were a result of the Hayward going down. Okay, there goes mentality.
Yeah.
Then they still had a chance to win that game at the end. In the final seconds.
Yep.
And the second game was...
Giannis just went insane.
It was the next night that you had to travel home for. So I think there's a lot that could be kind of talked about with those two losses.
I don't count those 2 losses. I agree with you there where I don't really count those 2 losses as pure losses in that sense. But I still think the Celtics will need something to get over that hump to beat Golden State in the NBA Finals. I still don't think that they're there yet. Kyrie, I will say, has totally, I'm amazed. I'm willing to drop my Kyrie hate anymore. He is definitely a top 3 point guard at this point. I'm top 5, top 3, top 5.
I'm saying you just turned around in like 2 minutes on the whole Kyrie's not a good baller. Now he's a good baller.
I still don't think he can beat Golden State.
Maybe only behind Steph Curry.
Who said that he has to? He has a team around him. It's not a single person. You don't beat Golden State with one person.
No, you don't beat Golden State with one person. But I think the person that the Celtics will be missing.
Is it fair to say that in a best of 3, I probably would pick I could probably take the Celtics, but on a best of 7, I'm still giving that edge to Golden State.
I'm giving the edge until somebody knocks them off.
Only because I really feel like the Celtics could win 2 games against
they
Golden
absolutely
State.
could. They absolutely could. That's a tough question.
No, I think Golden State.
Not ready to answer that one
yet?
We'll wait a few more months and we'll get to that. Let's go with continue on with your power rankings. Sorry, you had Celtics at 1.
So this one, Golden State at 2. Houston tonight will basically determine it. Houston at 3. I have Milwaukee.
You say tonight will actually determine it. Let's, I don't even want to get the rest of the. I just want to talk about Boston and Golden State right now. If Boston loses by 2, do you flip them?
I think you still have to flip them.
Well, why? I mean,
because they lost the head-to-head.
Stop. We're not talking about head-to-head. Has nothing to do with power rankings. Power rankings is how well the team is playing right now. If Boston gives them a fight and shows up like no team has so far this year, then why wouldn't you say that the Celtics could very well hold on to that number 1 spot? That's my open-ended question to you. Take it as you will. Stroke your beard if you must. Give me an answer. No.
Yeah, I mean, because I think both of these teams are on winning streaks.
Yep.
Right, that even a minute change, like one head-to-head
buzzer beater
loss.
Give me a buzzer beater by Golden State. Did they really do enough to beat the Celtics? Literally, they did. Literally, they did by actually getting the win. But did they really do Boston?
I don't understand. I don't understand how you can say if Golden State goes into Boston and stops their 13-game win streak, that Boston is still the more powerful team. That's the head-to-head is what decides it because it doesn't. If Golden State comes out
and I'm talking solely on luck. I'm talking solely towards the end of the game. It's something lucky that happens where Golden State can pull this win off.
So
how lucky are we
and say that
this is the game that we get tonight?
If
we're talking about
if I won,
decides the 1 or 2 spot.
But I'm also not a basketball fan, so I'm just talking generally. Good. Take whatever you want to heart.
So anyway,
go ahead.
Let's speed through the rest of them. Number 3, Houston. Number 4, Milwaukee. They had a great week. They beat San Antonio in San Antonio. They beat Memphis, and they beat Detroit last night.
Pump the brakes, but okay.
Milwaukee, that Eric Bledsoe trade, they haven't lost since Eric Bledsoe joined. They're looking fantastic.
So I want to pump the brakes on the Rockets for a second because I know they're 11-4 right now, but how do you think Chris Paul coming back affects that team dynamic? Do you think it makes them better, or do you think it makes them worse?
So I think it makes them better.
I think adding a superstar always makes you a better team, in my personal opinion.
So actually, I don't think having Chris Paul so much helps them in like sort of the immediate, because they're playing well right now. I think it helps them more in the long term. That James Harden's usage rate right now with Chris Paul out is actually higher than it was last year.
And that's not sustainable.
Right, exactly. So this is more of a move to help him come March, come April, come the playoffs, to help preserve him and give them another option, because Harden has sort of been known in key moments in the playoffs to kind of take a game off. And Chris Paul doesn't function like that, even though the Clippers with Chris Paul have blown their fair of
Who chokes Harden in the playoffs? Chris Paul or James Harden? Who
individually,
who
James
bricks
Harden,
that shot? Who?
But so I think Chris Paul makes them a better team for the long run. So that's my answer.
Number 5.
Number 5, Detroit.
Yeah.
They're playing really well this year so far. Number 6, I have Toronto.
Yep.
Number 7, I have Washington.
Okay.
They went 4-0 this week. They didn't play tough competition, but still 4 games is nice. Number 8, Minnesota. They beat Utah and San Antonio this week. Number 9, San Antonio. Number 10, I got Portland jumping up.
Thank you.
Into the top 10. They beat Denver, who Denver has started to figure things out and actually looking like a good team.
I told you last week that Portland could put some respect
Denver,
on the Trailblazers.
they beat Orlando last night. Their one loss this week was against Brooklyn, which is kind of Brooklyn.
I mean,
Brooklyn's a lot more watchable this year.
Brooklyn is that team where
they give a fight to the Celtics too.
Yeah, Brooklyn is so much more watchable.
You can come in on like a 10-game win
D'Angelo Russell made a huge difference.
And we'll lose by like 5 to Brooklyn. They're just that team that's like, they're not going to make the playoffs. They're going to go 20 and like 62 or something.
Watching the Celtics game against Brooklyn, I even kind of said to myself, they catch up and then they tie, they go up by a couple points, and then Boston pulls ahead, and they catch up and they tie, and then Boston goes ahead by like 10 points. Yep. It just seemed like that that
they
nagging. Yeah, it's more of like a nagging thing that you're getting from Brooklyn. Like, I'm here. Oh no, they're better than us. Okay, we're back again. Okay, oh no, we're better than us. So I look at Brooklyn as kind of like that. They can be a spoiler.
Yeah.
A little, they're a team that really doesn't seem like they're going to, they don't have to give up the entire year. They can keep fighting as hard as they want.
Another team like that is actually Atlanta. That, they're not good. They're a well-coached team that's just not good, right?
They're tanking.
They are, but, they're a well-coached team, so that they actually, they pushed Celtics.
You roll your eyes at me saying that they're tanking, but they literally got rid of anybody with talent on that team last year.
No, I don't. I don't believe in tanking. I believe in just poor management. You can
trust the process.
The 76ers are looking good.
Doing?
8-6, they're in the playoffs right now. Playoffs start
Philly
today.
on your power rankings.
Philly, let's see, where do I have them? I have them at 15.
Fantastic.
Now, where do you have Joel Embiid in your social media rankings?
Number 1 all the time.
I give him second over LeBron because of LeBron's New York post the other day.
Yeah,
Was it Thank You, New York?
No, it was King of New York. He was just standing on the Knicks logo. And
you're welcome. King of
that was such a. I just want to talk about that game for 5 seconds. That was such a LeBron game too, because
4.
I looked at the score and I saw that the Knicks were up by 23, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna blow this game. It's the Knicks. There's no way they don't blow it. And look what happened. They blew it. The Knicks are. Where do you have the Knicks? What do you think of the Knicks this year?
They're a weird. Let's see. Where do I have them right now? I have them at 17. This isn't going to be the year for them.
You don't have to talk
but
about
boy,
Knicks if you don't want
Kristaps Porzingis is a unicorn. Who, I think the Knicks are turning in the right direction for the first time in maybe a decade. Kristaps.
And then my final follow-up before we leave NBA for today is: have the Cavs figured it out?
No, I don't think so at all. I think it's LeBron. I think we're getting vintage LeBron. No, you think you're getting vintage LeBron.
So they went 3-1 this week, but they also didn't play against incredible competition.
Right.
Their wins were Dallas, who is competing with Chicago for worst team in the league.
Tank.
At New York, at Charlotte. Their loss was at Houston.
Honestly, honest, I think you're getting vintage LeBron. You're getting put the team on my back. I'm going to do it myself.
Yeah, and I think that's actually one of the reasons why now Kyrie is flourishing, because all of LeBron's teams are always get on my back and I'll lead you. Which, I mean, I think LeBron is the greatest player of our generation.
I would make the argument forever. I'd say it.
Forever? I'm still taking Jordan and Russell. But I think Kyrie now kind of being out of the shadow of LeBron, we're actually seeing how good he is. But anyway.
How good Kyrie is? How good
Kyrie is.
Oh, okay.
I think Cleveland
feel like we've seen how good LeBron is for years. So
is low-key really missing Kyrie. Not even low-key, just really missing Kyrie.
All right, let's bring it back to the local stage here in Vermont with home field advantage. We're going to start it off with some the biggest news over the weekend was UVM playing Kentucky. I received a text from Bryce about 4:30, 5 o'clock or so. It's you guys watching this game, thinking that he's also watching the Rams Houston game on Red Zone. He was not. He was watching the UVM Kentucky game down to the wire.
Sent us that group text.
Yeah, down to the wire. Set the stage quickly, and let's carry on with our. Oh, let's go on with your home field advantage.
Yeah, so UVM on Sunday played at Kentucky, who's currently ranked number 4 in the nation. UVM lost only by 4, which is pretty incredible, but actually had multiple chances to tie this game. With about a minute and a half left, they had the ball. They got multiple, only down 3, had multiple open looks for 3-pointers and just didn't make them. Trey Bell Haynes, their senior leader, had 16 points. Anthony Lamb, their sophomore, 15 points, 7 rebounds. Drew Urquhart had 13 points. Ernie Duncan, who had those kind of their 3-point specialists, had multiple chances, had 10 points, and actually 3 3-pointers.
Well, expand on it. What does this mean for the program? Is this great news?
This is fantastic. So one, I think it really shows how hard this team competes. 2, I think it shows if we're taking Kentucky to the brink here in this game. Granted, it was our first game of the season. It was only Kentucky's second game of the season. They have a bunch of freshmen. They're still kind of figuring things out.
They always have just a bunch of freshmen?
They do.
Yeah,
they do.
The one system.
But I think it shows that UVM is actually a mid-major force to be reckoned with. Mm-hmm. 3, I love that UVM, they weren't necessarily happy with losing to Kentucky by 4, that they were frustrated with the loss, which I think shows their competitive spirit. And how hard they're ready to work this year to make a splash. I think this was sort of the first chance that on a broad scale, on a national scale, people actually got to see, one, how good Trey Bell Haynes is as the America East Player of the Year last year, and 2, Anthony Lamb is kind of going to be like the next big thing. I mean, I think he can be one of those sort of generational, transcendental players for UVM, the way that Taylor Coppenrath was, because the guy, he can shoot, he can rebound, he can get inside, he can take a 3. I mean, the guy is unbelievable, and he's only a sophomore. He was the Rookie of the Year last year for the America East, and I think it just shows how well coached they are on John Becker's part, that the plays that they were running, they got open 3s, which is all you can ask for. They just didn't go in. But I also think on a larger scale, this is also sort of the telltale game of you're seeing seniors on UVM who have stuck with a program play a bunch of freshmen, and that they're just more intelligent and have a better head than freshmen who are still kind of figuring out in Kentucky. So, I think this is just a great sign for the program.
It's great for the program, and
what else is great for the program?
For that are great for the program. The video of what the improvements to UVM's facilities will be came out today, or yesterday now, actually. And you want to talk about taking the program to the next level. John Becker said in that video that he wants to have a Sweet 16 program that gets to that game. And UVM has been going after talent that has been looking at A-10 schools and schools that are in bigger conferences and has the academics to get those talent, but just not the facilities. And UVM is finally deciding to upgrade their facilities to something that just looks beautiful. And I am really excited for it because I want to see this program be a national program. I want to see UVM games on ESPN2 in the middle of February just because I'm flipping around the channel. It'd be a really cool thing. And they're finally taking the steps. For the last couple of years, we've had good programs. We've had a girls team, a women's team, just 5-6 years ago, won a game in the NCAA tournament. We have a boys hockey team that made the Frozen Four within the last 10 years. We have a boys basketball team that has made the NCAA tournament a couple times. UVM just needs the facilities, but they are on that cusp of being one of the better college athletic programs. The soccer teams were, who was it that made? Was it the boys or the girls?
Men's made their first, or was it? I'll have to look it up.
Women's and men's, they're winning
their first conference championship.
They're winning, they're winning games
history.
in soccer. They're winning games in hockey. They're winning games in basketball. And now they're getting the facilities to match it. And it's going to be exciting to see, the new facilities. Just a facelift because,
I think it'd be more exciting to see the talent that's going to come in rather than the actual facilities go up. I'm curious to see how much easier the recruiting is going to be for UVM.
It's going to be a facelift for Gutterson. Going to be a new basketball.
Overhaul for basketball.
Going to be overhaul, kind of an arena feel, seats all the way around. But still limiting the number of seats to, I think, 3,000. And that way, because sort of the appeal of Patrick Gym is that it's so intimate and everyone is on top of the action. Yeah. And this way, just ask BU or Northeastern, when you build those bigger arenas and can't fill them, you lose the atmosphere completely. So this way, limiting the seats, you keep that atmosphere, but it's just a much better facility.
And also, they said
it gives us a chance of moving out of the America East to a better conference.
They've also said that they'll be able to use those things for community events as well. So now we have...
The renderings look fantastic. It's going to be a nice place to hold an event.
It'll be a nice place where you can hold a concert that is bigger than Higher Ground, but not really like your Flynn type of concert. Like you can host those type of things now. So I'm really excited to see it because, the basketball program's moving forward. Girls basketball team has a new coach this year. I'm excited to see where UVM is in 5 to 10 years because I think
traveling
bigger and better.
Traveling up 89 to us, Red BFA, where our studio is located. I had a chance to talk with BFA basketball head coach Matt Toof about the upcoming season and how early they are in the process to put a team together for preseason. So we'll listen to that now for our home field advantage. Home field advantage this week. I have BFA basketball head coach Matt Toof with us. Matt, thanks for joining us today.
All right, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I know we're really early in the season. The season hasn't even begun to think about beginning. So where are we right now with where the team is, or what you're looking at coming back from next year or from last year?
So our season doesn't technically start until that Monday following Thanksgiving, so November 27th. So we can't have anything that's too formal, but we can have open gyms, and that's what we've been doing for the month of September. We've had a lot of guys that aren't playing a fall sport. They've been in the gym and working on their game and playing. We just barely got access to some of the football and soccer players now that their seasons are over. So we've had a lot of kids in the gym. Everyone's really excited. The coaching staff, everyone has been there every day that we've had open gyms. So there's a lot of excitement around the season. So we're looking forward to being competitive this year.
And what can you give me? Can you give me a player or someone that you're really looking forward to seeing this year? I know it's tough to kind of single someone up, but maybe let's try and maybe is someone from JV from last year that you're really excited to see up in the varsity level this year?
Yeah, the JV team did a great job with Coach Talley last year. We don't have our teams picked yet, so this is all speculation and projections. But I really liked how the Voyer kid, he started on the freshman team. He ended up on the JV team halfway through the season, and then eventually for the playoffs, he joined our team. And he's going to be a sophomore this year. He has good size. He's very coachable. I really liked working with him last year. I think he has a ton of potential. The other one would be Cameron Dunsmore, who's also a sophomore. He was the kicker for the football team and scored a bunch of goals for the soccer team this fall. But this summer in the Essex Summer League, he did a great job of, we put him on the opposing team's best defender, and he did a really good job of just knowing what his assignment was and following through. So those are a couple of names that I'm excited to work with, whether they're at the JV level or varsity level this year. Those kids are very coachable.
Speaking of this year, what is there a matchup you're looking most forward to? Just looking at the schedule, from here on.
Yeah, our schedule's going to look a little different this year. We picked up Enosburg is now in the Lake, so we've picked up 2 games against them. So that'll be another Franklin County team we get to play. So that should be fun. That should be, there will probably be a big crowd there. MVU is always fun to play against because they're always ready to play against us. They're always well prepared, and they're always willing to put up a fight. So I look forward to those 2 games. I look forward to playing the best of the best. CVU still on the schedule. South Burlington will be up and coming this year. So we definitely have a lot of work ahead of us. North Country's coming to us this year. We don't have to go to North Country. That makes me happy. That's my least favorite drive. So we get to stay home and play them this year. But yeah, so we've got 20 tough games ahead of us, and it doesn't matter who we're playing. We're going to try to make sure the guys are ready to go.
I think if I asked every coach in Vermont, what's the overall goal for this year, everyone would say winning the championship. Do you guys, other than standings or winning a championship, is there an overall team goal that you're looking to accomplish this year?
Every year we try to just grow the excitement around basketball. That's our goal every year. It's a hockey town, and I've been nothing but impressed with the hockey program, and I'm trying to use that model as we build our program. So just getting the kids involved, all the kids in the high school level will help out with the mini metro program. That's our feeder program, 5th through 8th graders. So they'll be there on Sundays helping those guys out, running the clock, taking money at the door, helping out in practices. They're involved in the summer camp. So we're just looking to grab a piece of that winter pie, if you will, and just try to create some excitement around basketball.
And you had mentioned to me before that you guys are doing little mini camps and things like that currently right now to maybe amp up how many people are excited about basketball as they grow older?
Yeah, so we've coordinated this with the St. Albans Rec Department and Kelly Vians. She's been great to work with. We're doing right now, we're running clinics for the 1st through 4th graders. Now that my kids are old enough, and it's my turn to kind of give back and help out in that capacity. We have high school guys being counselors with the little kids, and it's been going great. It's really beneficial for both. The little kids look up to the bigger kids, and the bigger kids get that experience of, okay, I got to be very clear when I'm teaching these kids. They don't always do what you expect them to do right off. So it's been really good. There's been a lot of growth there. So that's been happening, and that will continue right up until Thanksgiving.
Shout out to Coach 2 for joining me on for Home Field Advantage. It's always tough to talk about preseason expectations when you don't have a team on the court yet or on the bench. So I appreciate his time. And on Tuesday, we've got a new time here on Huddle Up. We're going to be here on Tuesday morning since Thanksgiving. We won't be here. The studio's closed down. We will have an interview with Coach Earl from the BFA girls team. So we'll talk. We'll hear that what he has to say about his team. And again, from what he had told me, they seem to have a little more handle, I guess. They've had a lot of open gym. He kind of knows what players might kind of be in the mix once the season starts. So, because he knows who's not going to be there, which one of them is his daughter. So it'll be the first time in a while that he hasn't coached his daughter on the team. Going to go to NFL picks with our last few minutes here. The last week, Dustin, the breadwinner, 10-4 on the week. 8-6, 9-5 Bryce. So congratulations, Dustin, for finally winning a week.
All right, don't feel good about him this week.
Don't feel good about this. This week is my father and I, my family, we always do our picks. And I looked at this week, I went, wow, this is just like bad against bad.
It's either bad against bad or really good against good.
Yeah, there's no in between here. I feel like there's not like that one pick where you can go, yep, that's the team that's going to, maybe there's a couple, but we'll get to it right now. So we'll start with tonight, Tennessee at Pittsburgh.
Color rush. Go Steelers.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Steelers as well.
Better run game. I like Mariota, but I don't think he's there to be able to beat a Steelers team in prime time yet. I'm going to pick them. Steelers are good.
Detroit at Chicago. Bryce, who do you got?
I'm going to take Detroit.
Yeah, as
Taking
well.
Detroit.
Taking Detroit. I trust Stafford more than
John Fox is the worst coach in the league.
Trubisky.
Worst coach in the league?
I think worst
Worst coach in the league?
Worst coach in
You'll
the
eat
league.
your words, I'm sure. Jacksonville at Cleveland.
Jacksonville.
No? No one wants Cleveland? Give it a shot?
Nah.
No? Yeah, I didn't think so.
I'm in here to win
I'm here to win. Baltimore at Green Bay.
Taking Baltimore.
this game. Packers.
This is that game that I hate because
Oh, yeah.
Packers did technically show up last week. Is there a little bit of momentum?
Technically, really pushing it there with the definition
But
of
is
technically.
Baltimore? Can Baltimore compete? Can they? They haven't really shown it all year.
No, Joe Flacco sucks. I'm taking the Packers.
Well,
I'm picking against Joe Flacco.
But Baltimore's defense leads the league in takeaways.
That's
and
cute.
interceptions.
Joe
and you
Flacco.
got Brett
And
Hundley
Joe Flacco
throwing the ball.
And Joe
That's a
Flacco's
convincer
throw-
right there. I like
and Joe
that.
Flacco
I'm a
throws
big
ton-
defense guy.
I picked
Flacco's
him.
Joe
throwing
Flacco and
3
Joe
picks a
Flacco
game.
and Joe Flacco and Joe Flacco.
Baltimore's defense and fantasy.
I'm taking-
Yeah, but do you think Brett
Packers.
Hundley can do anything once they get the ball?
I don't know. It's probably going to be like a
He
7-6
can chew gum
game.
a lot. I know that much. Cardinals at Houston.
I'm going to just, I think the Cardinals won, but I'm taking my teams to take my team. Andre Johnson gets his name in the Ring of Honor, first Texans player to ever be given that honor. It's going to be a fun day in Houston. Hopefully the team can show up.
Wait, they're honoring someone for Houston?
Also,
Yeah,
first
they lose
Houston
by
player to
30.
ever get a ring.
First what?
Houston player to ever get a ring. It's in the
Nice.
Ring of Honor.
There you go. Look at that.
I'm taking Arizona.
Yeah, I am as well. Just because
Tom Savage is terrible. I know.
if I'm going to weigh each one, I'm probably going to take Blaine Gabbert over.
Oh, Blaine Gabbert's playing?
Yes,
Yo Gabba
he
Gabba.
is.
Oh, man, then you got to pick the Texans because Yo Gabba Gabba is awful against Houston.
No, he's not awful.
Have you seen... Go.
Good. What would you like to say? Because I have some stats here I'd love to tell you.
What
Come on,
is- what
tell
is
me.
his stats
Tell me.
against the
No, tell me,
Texans? You
Brett.
got his
Tell
stats
me.
against
Come on,
Texans?
tell me.
Blaine
Why is he
Gabbert-
terrible?
Blaine Gabbert threw a pick off someone's foot when he played against
Gabbert,
the
the
Texans.
original Blake Bortles.
Literally, the Texans would just have
Bruce
to have...
Arians said, and I will quote, he was on really expletive teams.
Yeah,
it's
well-
not Blaine Gabbert's fault.
It is his fault.
It's not his
he was
fault.
the quarterback.
He was drafted by Jacksonville, traded to San Francisco. Jacksonville, with the 49ers, he went 1-4, and then that same team went 1-10 with Colin Kaepernick. Jacksonville, he went 3-5, and went 5-22, and that same team went 4-17 without him. It didn't matter if it was him or not. He's not a bad
He's
quarterback.
out. Yes, he
He's
is.
surrounded by bad talent.
Oh, you'll see. He is. He throws 2 picks. Texans win.
Oh.
Next game.
Texans don't win. Rams at Minnesota. This is a good game of the week.
Rams.
Taking the Rams.
Taking the
Yeah,
Rams.
I'm on that train too.
But that's going to be
I don't trust
I think
Case
it's gonna be
Keenum.
fun
better
game.
game than
I
others.
trust Case Keenum. I just love that Rams team too much. Redskins at Saints.
The Saints are coming.
Taking the Saints.
Yeah.
Oh, when the Saints?
And then Kansas City at New York Giants.
Let's go, G-Man. No, Chiefs. Chiefs
Chiefs.
win. Chiefs win.
You said Giants first. Buffalo at the
Giants are
Chargers.
so bad.
Go, Charge, go.
Oh, Chargers?
Oh, I hate this game.
I like Phillip Rivers. The Bills making a stupid decision and benching a quarterback.
Tyrod?
It's not Tyrod Taylor's fault that the Saints ran for 300 yards against them.
No, they just gave the Patriots the AFC East by benching Tyrod Taylor. Giving up on the season.
I'm going to take the Chargers.
Take the Chargers.
Yeah, I'm taking
I'm taking the
I'm
Chargers.
taking them
Chargers
as
almost
well.
beat the Jaguars last week.
They almost did, but they didn't. Cincinnati at Denver.
Oh, what a terrible game.
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati at Denver. This is a terrible game.
I'm going to go Denver.
I am still
Think
hate
the-
picking
the
against
back-
Brock Osweiler, so I'm picking the Bengals.
I'm going Denver. Just going home team
I'm going to go Denver as well.
for this one. Cincinnati's
New
offense
England
is
at
so bad.
Oakland.
New England.
New England.
Do we know my reasonings?
Just 'cause
Philadelphia at Dallas.
Taking
Eagles.
Philly.
Yeah. Again, there are some
Elliott.
games. The good games, the games that should be good on the schedule aren't the good games. Like,
Yeah.
You forgot Broncos, Dolphins, or not Broncos, Buccaneers, Dolphins.
oh, I actually have that written down at the bottom. Buccaneers versus Dolphins.
I'm picking the Dolphins. We got a minute left, I think.
I can take care of that. Go ahead. Why don't you pick and out into the show? Thanks.
All
I'll
right.
take Miami.
If you'd like to sit in this chair and host next
I
week,
would-
you're more than welcome to.
I have before, actually, as a
Let's
matter
do
of
that. No,
fact.
you haven't. JT has. What are you picking?
No, I did an entire
Miami.
show
Miami?
solo. You
Okay.
totally forget that I
do.
sat here for an hour and talked.
Yeah, I don't know why you did that. Atlanta at Seattle.
I'll take Seattle. Make a pick, Bryce. Make a pick.
I'm going bounce back game for Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm going Atlanta.
Okay.
Going Atlanta. With Sherman out.
On the year, I'm still leading 90 and 56. Bryce, you went down 1 percentage point. You're now 69% good on the season. You're
I'm
only
losing
like
my touch.
3 or 4
Nice.
weeks of choosing.
Nice.
That's going to do it for this week. Again, we'll be back on Tuesday next week from 9 to 10. Bryce will not be here. Dustin will be. JT will. And our good friend Nick Mumley. I almost said Mike Mumley. Nick Mumley, who's been on the Best Damn Sports Show on Wednesday nights, will join us as well. So that's going to do it for us on Huddle Up. We'll see you on Tuesday.